Good evening, everyone. I'm Jericho P. Jacob from Base IT3 Block E, and this is my presentation assessment in System Integration and Architecture. Assessment number one. Number one, why is form handling and validation important in web development, particularly in terms of data integrity and security? Form handling and validation are important in web development for several reasons. They can help keep data accurate and complete, protect against security threats like SQL injection and XSS. It make it easier for users by giving instant feedback and guidance on their input. Number two, what are some key Laravel features that help prevent security vulnerabilities such as SQL injection and cross-site request forgery, CSRF when handling form data? Key Laravel features that help prevent security issues include Eloquent ORM to stop SQL injection, Query Builder to escape user inputs, CSRF tokens for forms, validation to ensure data quality, XSS protection and blade templates, user authentication and authorization, password hashing for security, and support for HTTPS. Number 3. Explain how you would create a basic form in Laravel using a blade template and handle its submission in a controller. Include an example of how you would define validation rules. To create a basic form in Laravel, start by making a blade template with input fields and error messages. Next, define routes in web.php to show the form and handle submissions in the controller. Add one method to display the form and another to process the submissions using request validate. To set validation rules, required fields and character limits. Finally, redirect the user with a success message or show the form again with any validation errors. Number 4. How can customizing validation error messages improve the user experience in a web application? Provide an example of how you would customize and display validation error messages in a Blade template. Tailoring validation error messages enhances user experience by providing clearer and helpful feedback. For a user instance in a Blade template, you can show specific messages like please enter your email address or your password. Must be at least 8 characters long. Using the error directive to assist users in correcting their input. Number 5. What are the benefits of centralizing validation logic in Laravel applications? And how does this contribute the maintainability of a web application? Centralizing validation logic in Laravel has many benefits, including better consistency, easier maintenance, and improved organization. It reduces code duplication, simplifies updates to rules across forms, and makes the code easier to read. This approach helps maintain a web application by allowing developers to manage validation more effectively, leading to fewer mistakes and a smoother development process. Assessment number 2. Number 1. What is the role of middleware in Laravel's authentication system, and how does it help protect route, routes and resources from unauthorized access? Middleware in Laravel's authentication system checks if a user is logged in before they can access certain routes. It helps keep routes and resources secure by allowing only authorized users in, redirecting those who aren't logged into the login page or showing an error message. Number 2. How does Laravel's built-in authentication system handle user registration and login, including the management of session tokens and the validation of input data? Laravel's built-in authentication system makes user registration and login easy with ready-made controllers and router. When a user registers, it checks their input and create a new account in the database. During the login, it verifies the credentials and generates a session token to keep the users logged in. in middleware helps manage these decisions so users remain authenticated while using the app. Number 3. Explain the importance of security measures like SQL injection, prevention, and XSS protection in login registration forms. How does Laravel assist preventing these vulnerabilities? Security measures like preventing SQL injection and SSS are crucial for login and registration forms. To protect user data, Laravel helps using prepared statements to escape user input, providing built-in validation to ensure data safe, and automatically escaping output in its blade templating engine. Together, these features improve from security and protect the application. Number 4. How you would create and apply custom middleware in Laravel restrict to access the specific routes based on user roles, such as admin only route. To create and use custom middleware in Laravel to restrict access by user roles, you would generate the middleware, implement the logic to verify if a user has the admin role, register it in the kernel.php file, and then apply it to specific routes in your web.php file. Number 5. In terms of scalability, how can Laravel's authentication system be adapted to handle a growing number of users and requests? Give examples like session management or token-based authentication. To scale Laravel's authentication system, for more users and requests, you can implement token-based authentication using Laravel Passport or Sanctum. Manage sessions with a database or distributed cache like Redis. Use load balancing to distribute incoming traffic across the multiple servers. And employ horizontal scaling by adding more servers as demand increases. All of which help maintain performance and positive user experience. Assessment number 3. What are the key steps involving in implementing the create operation in Laravel, and how do blade views and form handling play a role in this process? To implement the create operation in Laravel, you start by defining routes in web.php for displaying the form and processing submissions. Next, you create a controller that includes methods for showing the form and handling user input. You use a blade view to design the HTML form where the users can enter their data. Once the user submits the form, the controller validates the input and saves into the database. Finally, you redirect the user to a relevant page with a success message. This process ensures that user interaction is smooth and that data is handled securely and efficiently. Number 2. Explain the importance of data validation and sanitation in CRUD operations. How does Laravel ensure security when handling user input during these operations? Data validation and sanitation are crucial in CRUD operations to ensure data accuracy and security, preventing issues like SQL injection and XSS attacks. Laravel, uh, Laravel enhances security by providing built-in validation methods, automatically escaping output to prevent XSS, and using prepared statements with its query builder and e- Eloquent ORM to guard against SQL injection, ensuring user input is safe and properly handled. Number 3. Describe how you would implement the read operations in Laravel to retrieve and display data from the database using a bot controller method in a blade view. To implement the read operation in the Laravel, you would set up a route in web.php that points to a controller method. Create that method in the controller to fetch data from the database, and then pass the retrieved data to a blade for display, such as showing a list items in an easy-to-read format. Number 4. What is the purpose of the update operation in Laravel? And how would you handle form submission to modify existing entries in the database? The update operation in Laravel allows for modifying existing data entries in the database to maintain accuracy and relevance. To manage form submissions for this, you would set up routes in web.php. For the update form in the submission process, create controller methods to show the edit form with the current data and handle the submissions. Validate the incoming data. Use Eloquent to locate and update the existing record, and then redirect the user to an appropriate page with a success message, ensuring secure and effective data modifications. Number 5. How can you ensure that the delete creation in Laravel is secure and prevent accidental or unauthorized removal? What role does validation plays in this process? To make the delete operation in Laravel safe and prevent unwanted data removal, you can take a few key steps. First, use policies and gates to control who has permission to delete records. Middleware can also help by allowing only authenticated users with the right roles to access delete routes. CSRF tokens protect against attacks that might trigger deletions without the user knowledge. Finally, enabling soft delete lets Laravel marks the records as deleted without actually removing them, so they can be restored if needed. Assessment number 4. What is the purpose of Google reCAPTCHA and how does it enhance the security of web application when integrated with Forms? Google reCAPTCHA helps tell apart real users from bots on websites. When added to Forms, it improves security by stopping bots from submitting spam, creating a fake accounts, or trying to break into accounts. It does this by giving challenges that are easy for people but hard for bots, like picking specific images for or entering text correctly. This keeps your site up safer by reducing spam and protecting user data. Number 2. Describe the process of obtaining and registering reCAPTCHA site and secret keys from Google. Why is it important to update the domain when moving from a local host to a production environment? To get a reCAPTCHA site and secret keys from Google, go to the reCAPTCHA admin console, sign in, and register your website. You'll need to add a label or name, pick the reCAPTCHA type, and enter the domains where it will be used. Google will Google will then give you a site key for your website's front end and a secret key for your server side checks. It's important to update the domain from localhost to your actual website domain when moving to production, as reCAPTCHA keys are tied to specific domains. If not updated, reCAPTCHA won't work properly and may block users from using your forms. Number 3. How would you integrate reCAPTCHA into a Laravel form? Outline the steps from installing the necessary package to adding the reCAPTCHA field in the form. To integrate reCAPTCHA into a Laravel form, start by installing the Anscobu no reCAPTCHA with package composer. Then add your reCAPTCHA site and secret keys to your .env file. After that, confirm the keys are included in config services.php. In your blade views file, add the reCAPTCHA field using the no captcha display code. When validating the form, include the rule gReCAPTCHA response required captcha to check the reCAPTCHA response. Number 4. Explain how to validate reCAPTCHA responses in Laravel. What role do the reCAPTCHA secret keys plays in this validation process? To validate reCAPTCHA responses in Laravel, you begin by capturing the response from the form, which is typically sent under the key gReCAPTCHA response. Next, in your form, request or controller, you add a You add a validation rule like required reCAPTCHA to ensure that a response is provided and is valid. When the form is submitted, Laravel uses the reCAPTCHA secret key to check the response with Google's API, which then returns a success or failure message indicating whether the verification was successful. The secret keys are crucial because they authenticate your request to Google, ensuring that the validation process is secure and valid. Number 5. How can customizing error messages or field reCAPTCHA attempts improve user experience? Provide an example of how you would handle reCAPTCHA errors in a Laravel compute controllers. Customizing errors, messages, or field reCAPTCHA attempts enhances user experience by providing clear feedback that helps user understand and resolve the issues. Reducing frustration, for example, in a Laravel controller, you can set validation rules. If a reCAPTCHA errors oc- occurs, add a specific message like please complete the reCAPTCHA challenge to submit the form. Assessment number 5. Number 1. What is the purpose of integrating OTP functionality into a Laravel application and how does it enhance security for users? Integrating OTP or one-time password functionality into a Laravel application add extra security for user login and interactions. It requires user to enter a unique code sent to their phone or email, which helps prevent unauthorized access even if someone knows their password. This two-factor authentication method makes it much harder for attackers to gain access to accounts or commit fraud. Overall, using OTP helps protect sensitive information and increases users' trust the application security. Number 2. Describe the process of generating and sending an OTP via email in Laravel. What configuration steps are needed in the .env file to set up email functionality? To generate and send an OTP or one-time password via email in Laravel, start by creating a unique OTP using functions like str, random, and storing it in the database or sessions with an expiration time. Next, leverage Laravel's mail functionality by creating a mailable class to send the OTP to the user's email. After that, provide a form for the user to input the OTP and verify it against the stored value while checking its validity. Finally, configure the email settings in the .env file, specifying the mail driver, host, port, username, password, and the sender's email address to ensure proper email functionality. Number 3. Explain how you can integrate in SMS OTP service using Twilio in Laravel. What configurations are required in the .env file in the controller to send OTPs via SMS? To integrate an SMS OTP service using Twilio in Laravel, begin by installing the Twilio SDK via Composer, and then add your Twilio account SID, out token, and phone number to the .env file. After that, create a service class to manage sending the OTP through Twilio's API. And in your controller, generate a 6-digit OTP, fetch the user's phone number from the request, and utilize this service class to send the OTP as a message. This configuration enables you to send SMS OTPs to users effectively. Number 4. How can you handle OTP verification in Laravel? Describe the process of validating the OTP in the necessary steps to handle success or failure of the verification. To verify an OTP in Laravel, create a form for users to enter the OTP they receive via SMS or email. In your controller, compare the submitted OTP with the stored one in the session or the database, checking for a match and expiration. If the OTP is valid and not expired, proceed with the next steps, like verifying the user. If it's incorrect or expired, return an error message asking the user to try again and request a new OTP. Number 5. What are some key customization options available when handling OTPs, such as error messages or retry attempts, and how can this improve the user experience? When managing OTPs, key, custom, key customization options include tailored error messages that clarify issues, limited retry attempts before requiring a new OTP, and adjustable expiration times for a better user convenience. Offering a resend option for OTPs can assist users who didn't receive them, while visual indicators like timers keep users informed about their time to enter the OTP. These features can enhance the user experience by reducing confusion, minimizing frustration, and improving satisfaction with the OTP verification process.